world is changing.
I'm looking to do things better.
To improve.
Just because it's always been that way doesn't mean it's right.
I embrace change.
I seek adventure and discovery.
I explore the unexplored.
To know the unknown.
Even in the toughest moments, we ride together.
Even in the moments when we're at our limits.
We support each other. It's time to move up a level.
Push that little bit harder.
Changes we make now will make the future better for all.
The efforts we put in today
Will pay dividends tomorrow.
We all have the power to up the game.
To build something better.
It's not time to play.
It's time to get real.
It's time to be a game changer.
The world is changing.
I'm looking to do things better.
To improve.
Just because it's always been that way doesn't mean it's right.
I embrace change.
I seek adventure and discovery.
I explore the unexplored.
To know the unknown.
Even in the toughest moments, we ride together.
Even in the moments when we're at our limits.
We support each other. It's time to move up a level.
Push that little bit harder.
Changes we make now will make the future better for all.
The efforts we put in today
Will pay dividends tomorrow.
We all have the power to up the game.
To build something better.
It's not time to play.
It's time to get real.
It's time to be a game changer.
Hello everybody and welcome to Tour du Monde 2021, and we are on stage 7. We have just ticked over the halfway stage. We are now entering the second week of the event. So there we are, Sunday the 10th of January, stage 7, Alto de Angliru, Spain. So a 30.8 kilometer stage awaits today, third of our 4 mountain stages. And I'm sure there's going to be some sore legs after yesterday's epic stage on Christ the Redeemer in Brazil. So most of our riders have had a little bit of respite, and now they'll be looking to tackle what potentially is a toss-up as to if this is the Queen stage or not. We've got the Telegraph and Galibier stage to finish the whole event next Sunday. But today, Alto de Angliru in northern Spain. There has been a bit of snow there in the real world, but luckily the snow plows have been out. Course is open. So let's take a little look at the course profile for today then. So 1,768 meters of climbing, starting in the valley, and we turn off up the first climb of the day up to Pico Arandanusa. Then there's a bit of respite as we drop down into the adjacent valley, picking up our speed, and then up the other side, up the really steep bit as we climb up and up and up. There's some very steep sections. It's one of the feared climbs in the World Tour of Cycling. Up to the summit and then onto the plateau, where there's a couple of kilometers at the top of flat running. There we go, there's the course profile taken from Velo Viewer. So an initial maybe 400 meter climb, nice long descent into the valley, short slight slope for, I say short, it's still about 5 kilometers, and then into the real steep stuff. See that top, actually a little bit of downhill once you get onto that plateau at the top, so that'll be a nice little push at the end there. This doesn't finish at the summit, it does roll on, so our competitors are going to have to dig deep for those last couple of K, keep those legs turning, when I imagine they're going to be a little bit sore. But yeah, this is going to be quite an epic stage, so looking forward to seeing how our riders fare today. We have had a couple of time slots go out already, the midnight slot and the early morning slot, and the fastest time so far is our very own Samir Dewalti. He's done it in 1:55, so that's the target to beat today. And looking back, here's the overall top 20 of the general classification. So it was all changed yesterday on the Christ the Redeemer stage, where Blair Drader, who had been our leader for the first 5 stages, was overhauled by Falk Levine, who himself took second on the stage. Blair finishing 11th, a few minutes back, but now only 2 seconds ahead of Raul Lopez. And we've got J Pocomotion, James Malville, breathing down there next as well, only a minute or so behind. But a lot of good names in that whole top 20, and that's where we are after 6 stages, so we've still got 6 stages to go. I'm sure that's all going to change. We've got 2 more flat stages, 2 more hilly stages, 2 more mountain stages. So here we are then on the start line for today's stage, live from northern Spain. Quite sunny there. And we've got 114 riders on the start line then. 10 seconds for the off. Here we go then, the countdown is on. Oh, that Riley at the top of the riders list there, Riley Harvey, Facebook moderator. 115, someone just sneaking in at the last minute there. Away we go. The rider's going to be pushing right from the off. Great to see so many, once again, big numbers. Try and pick out riders as we go. But I'm sure it's going to be fairly fast. You want to stay in the draft for these first couple of kilometers until you turn off from the valley and into that first climb. I was given a few crib notes for today, which read flat, hill, downhill, steep, get steeper, steeper again, the steepest thing you've ever ridden, slight downhill. So I'm sure once they get to that slight downhill, that's when they might have a little bit of a chance to look back on the fantastic achievement that they would have had today. But yeah, there's a long way to go yet. 30 kilometers, 1,750 meters climbing. So it looks like we've got a nice big bunch going off together here, being led out by John Samuno on the front. He's one of the Pokemotion guys. Ratio Racing. There's the Uncoolers in here. SDW. Glasgow United. So we'll be running through some of the teams and their build-ups as we go through the event today. But yeah, it's great to see so many different riders from all over the world. Keith Aitchinson there, coming to the front, taking a little turn, one of the Uncoolers. Yeah, look at the size of that pack. That's really pleasing to see as one of the organisers. Great to see that so many people have taken time out to join this event. We are pushing them day in, day out, these riders. It's we do have a few rest days in here, so tomorrow is a rest day. So that would be nice for them. And 3 days, another rest day, and then 2 final stages. So here we got Samu and Schnorr in the Team GBR kit there. They're the Pokemotion guys. Another Pokemotion rider there just coming to the front as well. So they're really pushing the pace early on. Trying to see if they can split things up a little bit. Maybe drop a couple guys in these early flat areas. Get them to fall out of the draft. Maybe a tactic there, but they don't want to lose too many guys. They'll start losing speed themselves. You want to try and save your legs for the climbs, I imagine, today. We have got several long sections that are going to be over 20% gradient. This is one of the few climbs in professional cycling where you do see the odd pro having to get off his bike and walk up. It's not one for the sprinters, definitely a day for the mountain goats. They're going to be coming to the fore, I believe. So there we are then, we are just approaching 2k, look at that, 2k in under 3 minutes, off to a wicked pace. Looks like there's still 70 odd in this front bunch, 75. So a few guys behind, but I'm sure they're just thinking about getting through the day. There's no point burning yourself out trying to stay in the pack and then wasting your legs. Caroline Reuter there just in front of us, Project Echelon kit. A lovely view from inside the peloton there. So Caroline is our female leader on GC. Some great footage here from riding right inside the bunch. You don't have to worry about bike handling. Sit in. Let the game do the work for you. Don't need to worry about touch your wheels. Here at the back, 70 riders here in this group. So Caroline there sporting the Project Echelon jersey. They're an American team. And they're also running the Echelon Racing League series currently on RGT on the weekends as well. So that's a community-based and professional invitational-based series run on alternate weekends. So that's been running for several months now. It's about halfway through, I think. Here we have Blair Drader, currently sitting second on GC overall. I mentioned earlier he was first up until yesterday's stage, but I'm sure he'll be hopefully still riding strong. He had a good day yesterday despite losing that GC. He still finished 11th overall. Oh, a little bit of an attack off the side there. That was someone in the GCN kit coming, zooming past Blair there. Blair in the WKG kit. They were the organisers of the Vive la France event from earlier in the year. Last year now, so that was held in August, September last year, which replicated Tour de France. As we take that right-hander then out of the valley, and now we start to hit first climb of the day. Already 4.5%, 5 minutes in. Let's see how long it takes to get up this first climb then. Raul Lopez leading them out, the Spanish rider on home turf. He's currently sitting third on GC, just a couple of seconds behind Blair Drader. So, and there's Blair, look, coming right to the fore as well, not letting Raul have any rope, not letting him get away. Very nice what we got here then. Andrzej Krajewski, he had a little bit of a technical yesterday, 1,500 metres from the finish line. Commissaires have had a little look. They've awarded him a time for that, I think. So there he did very valiantly offer to ride the whole stage again on the rest day. I think the commissaires are taking a little bit of heart on his situation. They're going to sort that out amongst themselves. So here's Steve Taylor then coming to the front. He had a good ride yesterday. He was in the front 5 for a long time yesterday. I think eventually he finished possibly third overall on the stage. I'd have to double check that. He's been having a very good time on the bike. He's currently sitting 20th on the GC. He's setting the early pace here then, with a little bit of a gap ahead of the field, 12, 13 or so. I'm sure that's not going to last for long. Got a long climb. So Joris Shepherd's there in second place. Got James Malville there for company. Both of them sitting nice and high in the GC. I believe that Joris is currently well inside the top 10. Let's get that data up for you. I think we can share. So we have been using the rgtdb.com database, using that for hosting our results. So currently, yeah, James Malville currently in 5th place, Joris in 9th place, just inside the top 10 at the minute, but it's pretty close there. He's on 6 hours, 8 minutes and 18 seconds. Lee Marshall breathing down his neck, 21 seconds back. 10th, Paul Newton, 6:08.48. Jan van der Linden for Team Dirt in 6:08 and 54. So we've got 4 guys there fighting for top 10 position, about 35 seconds between them. Very, very close there. Looks like Steve Taylor's just pulling out his lead a little bit. He's going nice and early here. We're already in double-digit gradients, 11%. Thanks Samir for this one. He's the designer of this course. He's ridden it a few times. As I mentioned, he rode it earlier this morning. He was out there nice and early on the 6:30 UK slot. He's set the early pace, 1 hour 55 minutes. See Bas van Schaik there. Probably some awful pronunciation. Apologies. He's sitting there in the top 10 of today's stage. And it is pulling apart a little bit. We've got a little bit of separation. There's Andrzej Krajewski, as I mentioned earlier, had that unfortunate technical issue yesterday. He's riding strong. We're going to sort out his position on GC. That did mean he dropped out of the top 20, but sort that out for him. A bit like in the real world, you have 3-kilometer rule. GC riders, I think he snapped a chain. I think that was the issue yesterday. In the real world, he just walked his bike to the line or got a new bike off the team car. So we have to look at this sensibly. He couldn't just get a new bike. He's at home on his trainer. We don't want him to be thinking about throwing the whole thing in. But like I say, Vanity did offer to do the whole thing again, which was very noble of him. So it looks like Falk Levine now coming to the front of the chasing group. 20 metres behind Steve Taylor here, who in game is known as R2CM, Ride to Cure Neuroblastoma, which is a cancer that affects children. So he does a lot of fundraising for that charity, raising awareness. And I know a little bit more about, so it's working out on the front, getting TV time. Here's Juan Manuel Penuelas, again on home turf, currently in 4th place here. Don't think he's sitting in the overall, but he is. That's a good thing with this whole series. You can come in, do one stage, do the whole thing. You can just focus on the mountain stages or the hilly stages, sprint stages. There are competitions within the competition. See here, Falk Levine making a little bit of a move then. Catch up with Steve Taylor, who's stretching his lead a little bit. 30 metres ahead of Falk, and then he's 36 metres away here, Penuelas. So it's certainly stretching out on this first incline of the day. We're 5 minutes into this hill / mountain. Probably, well, I'm not sure, somewhere in between 400 or 500 metres. So this is just the starter of today's event. This is not the main course. See here from this overview already quite spread out there. Got Samu in 14th, Shepherds in 15th on the road there. Already 100 metres or so back from these leaders. So you come through here, It is a bit of a windy road up to the top. But look how much it's stretched out. I'm a bit surprised by how early this has spread out. There is a good downhill section after this, where being a little group, getting a bit of draft, like these guys here, look, from 3rd down to 9th place, 10th place. If that comes back together at the top of the climb, they're going to have a nice little draft benefit on the downhill. They can be able to work together, take turns, do a little bit of work on the front, sit back in, let someone else sit on the front, taking turns. That will save them a little bit of energy ahead of the main climb that's still to come today. So yeah, if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, Twitch, across all platforms today, please do drop me a comment. Try and read out some comments, pass on messages to riders. So Samir is saying he suspects the race will be won in the first slope, final flat bit. 8 to 10 minute respite after the first hill / mountain. Lots of hairpins. So as I said, if you have a little group, then it does help with the draft effect, but that works better if you've got nice long straight roads. There's lots of hairpins, lots of turns, obviously quite often find on mountains. Then that can have the effect of slowing down that pack, because they're constantly having to brake. They're not quite able to use their drafting and slingshotting effect quite so much, and that does give a little bit of benefit to the solo riders who might be up the road. Hi Ollie Payne checking in. He's one of the herd ride leaders. He runs a ride on Friday evenings at 6 PM GMT. Relaxed end of week group ride. He's looking to set up a new group ride as well that's coming soon on Sunday mornings. Again, something quite chilled, nice and relaxed. I think like this sort of racing, there won't be as much climbing as this. I think they're really fairly flat courses, but he does mix it up to keep it interesting each week. So check that out. There'll be links on Facebook, also on RGT.com website. And Derek Bucock as well, chat. Derek is one of the Team 3R ride leaders, and he also hosts a couple of group rides every week. So he does that usually, I think, on Mondays and Fridays at the moment to fit around Tour du Monde. He's also looking to set something up on Sundays, although that's in the afternoon, 2 PM GMT. So check those out. They'll be starting in the week. So back to the race then. We've got Maxim Turcott there, 10th place on the road. He's just trying to bridge across this front group. He's currently 10 meters behind. Currently, there's no drafting here. Being in that group, it's good motivation. Working with other riders, it keeps you focused on getting up the road. Still in the 10% sections here. If he can get across, that would be good for him on that downhill section. So he's just closing that gap now, 7 meters off the back. That will slowly get reeled in. Group's not put away. Gary bridges across. McAlpine there just dropping back a little bit, maybe a bit of a hand. He's made contact there then, so that's a decent sized group of 8 riders. It looks like it's just as we hit these slightly gentler slopes, we're down at 9% as opposed to 11 or 12. Looks like it is just stretching out a little bit then. McAlpine just coming back onto the back there. Malville in that group. It looked like there was 3 of them, Glasgow United. Falk Levine makes contact then with Steve Taylor at the front of the race. These guys currently 190 metres up the road from that front group. Well, from the chasing group. These are the front groups, not much of a group. Very exclusive, just the 2 of them there then. These 2 did work well together yesterday for a good portion of the race. They are familiar with each other. See how well they get on today. So Falk at the front of the overall GC. Steve Taylor currently 20th place. Steve racing for Team 3R. Got his kit on there. Got Derek Bucock. He's riding in the later slot today. Derek will also be streaming, so check out that stream later on. You can find him on YouTube. So in the Facebook group, Team 3R. So I'm just looking, I can't see Blair Trader in this group, so it looks like possibly he might be losing a little bit of time. There he is, there's Blair actually in 13th, just behind these two. So we've got John Samu, Pokemotion, Lee Marshall from Uncoolers, and here we are, here's Blair Trader. Got them in his sights, he's only 10 metres or so behind them, about 50 metres off that little group up ahead. Juski comes across. So Blair's got a little bit of support there. Back to the front. Oh, briefly back to the front. I think they're on a slightly shallower 6th section. We jump back to 15th place. Here's Joris Sheppers. So he's 120 metres back, chasing groups. Looking a little bit isolated here. Back to his teammate, Ratio Racing teammate, Mark Rowbottom there. He's about 50 metres behind Sheppers, and then behind him 16 metres Nick Greenhall in this little group, another Ratio Racing rider. He's in there with Jan van der Linden, Forhog and D-Bag. Good mix of riders here. Come through twisty sections, 6.6 kilometres of the race now. 24 kilometres to go. Bit of chat in the YouTube chat there. Wondering if anyone's going to do Hugh Carthy. Attack on the steep sections. Education First rider winning on the Angleroo earlier this year. Go back down through the field. 25th place, here's Careless Vespa, TNT team. Got Jay DeLuc just behind him, and these guys are still putting out 4 watts a kilo average here, so they're not hanging around. The guys up ahead, they're up above 5 watts a kilo, and that's really push on. A little group of 4 here, and I'm sure as we go back down through the field, we're seeing lots of Dan Bears there, another Ratio Racing rider. They've got good numbers in today's event. Then Saidi, 30th place, just behind him. Jez Reed, 31st place. So a few riders, a little bit isolated on the road, but on these sort of climbs, you just got to ride at your own pace. Sometimes you try and keep up with the wheel ahead, puts your rail a little bit. So sometimes you to do what you need to do, let it recoup near the top. Here's Will Spencer then, above and beyond cancer kit. Got S Torres coming up strongly behind him. A little train there, look. Two riders coming back together. P Riley, oh, and Torres has gone straight through. Found a little bit of energy there. Bouncing through to the front. So I'm just commenting on today's stage, Ollie. Probably be riding a few stages during the week, which I'll be commenting as I'm racing. Today not racing, just viewing and commentating in the background. Allows me to focus a little bit more whilst ZMS Livestreams running all of the graphics. Great camera shots for this, run these switchbacks up into the mountain, hit the higher parts of this climb. Just about to tick up to 400 meters climbing already done today. 1200, so still plenty of climbing. So not even a quarter of the way through the climbing yet. Here's the chase group then. Lovely camera angles. Damon does a really good job. He's 3 cameras set up, allowing us to switch between the front of the race. Look at the chasing pack as Malville. On the, look at this 16% gradient. You can really see the angle there. Sometimes with the camera, it's difficult to see what's going on. And then you get the foreshortening effect as they go around that hairpin. 18 gradient. That, well, you can really see the angle there. And the slope as we jump around. Back a little bit to Samu here. Marshall for company. Blair Drader just behind. Guys, catch up. That little group up ahead. Currently about 50 meters behind. Slowly getting there. This nice overhead shot. The leaders then. Now put 200 meters in front of that chase group. If they look down off the cliff edge, they would be able to see them. Where these guys are going. The steep cliffs up ahead there. Seeing that extra climbing now on the gradient chart in the top right hand corner. See the summit of this first climb approaching. So that little box top right, that shows your position on the road, and it shows a kilometre up the road and down the road. So we can just see now these guys are approaching 1,000 metres from the summit. They're not too far. Look at the gap, you can see it as well there. So see all the little white dots, that's all the riders spread out along the course, but there's clear separation. Front dots back to the group, which I think is possibly just swelling in size a little bit. See, there's a couple of guys just coming around the road on the left there, probably Blair Drader, Juski, where Johnson managed to bridge across. Groups, I imagine, start going down here pretty quickly. Lead 5 minutes summit now. I'm in about, was it 5 minutes in? So about 20-minute climb. There they are, front. And yeah, you're right, Ollie. These mountain stages really do show off the magic roads very well. So feature on RGT that allows you to take any course. You can plot it on Strava or ride with GPS, export the file, send it off to RGT, computers, or do some wizardry, send you back a rideable course which mimics elevation gain turn of a real world course, allowing you to replicate anywhere in the world. And that's exactly the real benefit that we're using here to bring you the Tour du Monde. No one in their right mind is going to go out and model roads in Antarctica or Norfolk Island. But we're able to do that, give an opportunity to virtually transport themselves to those places. So Samir, giving a shout out here to Max Turco. Just dropped off the back of that chase group a little bit. Johnson just behind him, still on double digit gradient, 11%. Very steep. Lopez still leading this group. Him and Melville really pushed chase group on, not allowing it to coast. Doing what they can to drag it all up the climb. Now we're about to summit. Climb of the day. Just under 20 effort, first one. Roll over the top. Long distance back valley. Nice bit of respite for them. About 8-10 minutes for that downhill. A bit of rest for the pack second hill. So Samir just giving our early leader from the 6:30 slot, he's just saying that he reached the summit here. Alto de Coudal, 33 minutes. Guys have done it in 4.5. Fantastic pace from these guys. Start the descent then. Here we are riding on board. Steve Taylor, second behind Falk Levine. Fantastic board, camera angles. Cruising down the other side. It's not quite steep. Look, we've got 4%. Go to the multi-screen then. Our race leader up in the top left. Chasing pack. Right hand side. About to take the final turn up to the summit. They're about a minute behind top. Bottom left. Nice overview of second chase pack. That's Turcoat, Famuk and Drader. A group of four strong riders. Down initial chase group of 8. Levine's certainly not cruising on this downhill. He's putting the power on. He's trying to pull away from Steve Taylor. They come down with 6-7% negative gradients now. Pick up the speed, but you can see it's quite twisty. And this is what we were talking about earlier. It might just impede chase group a little bit. They're still going to get some draft benefit, still get a little bit of slingshotting past each other. Here they are then, they're over the top, they're on the downhill, and they're 3 GCN kit guys there, the Glasgow United team, Scottish team. They push on at quite the same intensity as our front two. Cruising a little bit just for the moment. This is our second group of Smooth, Turco, a 207 back. There might be a bit more of these guys to push on, try and get into that group of chasers. Open a little bit. They not quite grouped together over the top, a little bit of separation. Gaps will open up on fast downhill. Front now 1.5 kilometers ahead. Position Marshall, they're a kilometer ahead. Chase pack that will close up again once we're back on flats. Back to climb. Flared Raider there. 2 back on those leads. Time to certainly shake up that GC. But Ratio Racing, I think they're currently leading the team competition. We've got several riders here in the top 20 today. Greenall, Sheppers. They're having a good ride as a team. Top 20 now all over the summit. Still looks pretty close in behind. We've got some approach in the top there. A lot of white dots within the top kilometre of the climb. Pushing on now, getting over that first issue. Not issue, getting over that first climb. John T rides earlier in the guy who rode against him on stage 3. Tiananmen mountain stage. Pretty brutal at the end. Final 2 kilometres average like 70%. John T third on that time slot. Rode away from me, left me for dead. Getting over the top here now then, getting a little bit of respite. No one cruising too much. Still seeing a few red numbers there as people push on in out of the corners. Another Ratio Racing rider, Van Beers. A little group here of 4. Oh, there's Hayden Smedley from We Buy Cycles. I had a good ride alongside him for much of yesterday. Oh, there's like a big group there then. A couple of SDW guys. Torres there in that group. He looks a little bit like a Education First kit, but I don't think it is. Guys over the summit then. Guys all together, they're going to get a good little group forming on the road. Push on. And looks like Levine's pulled out a little bit. 50-metre lead over Steve Taylor here then. Too worried about working together. Just pushing on regardless. These guys about a kilometre ahead of the chase group now. Still long descent. The valley. See folk there in the up ahead round that next hairpin. Steve's still got them in his sights. Good opportunity to get back onto the wheel. A little bit of fairly flattish road in the valley. Oh, I've just been corrected. It's Glasgow United that are leading the Team GC. Yesterday climb. Ratio Racing, they were doing quite well. It's like they've been taken now. So there's quite a few competitions within competitions. It's a little bit tricky just to stay on top of them all. Got our overall classification, we've got team classification, mountain and sprint classifications, one for the ladies as well. So yeah, certainly a lot going on. Uncoolers in third place, team classification, STW in fourth, and OTR Black currently in fifth. Pokemotion in sixth, and Moon Riders, Tested Tracers, OTR USA, OTR Blue, Blues Team, OTR Green, and we are a lot of teams in this. So that is one element that we've been trying to push as well with this series, is team-based element. There is a team time trial that comes up next Saturday. Teams will do an individual slot. Their riders to work together to try and gain some time. That would certainly shake up the GC as well. Guys working well together in the chase group. But it looks like they're not doing too good a job of bringing back those front two hairpins in those corners. Slowing them down a little bit. Looks like Glasgow United have another good day again today. 3 guys currently top 10. But not that far off. Halfway point. Our lead is pretty close to going under the yellow banner. Guys are about a kilometre away now. There we go then, so here's Glasgow United. James Malville, Stevie Cooper, Hans Forhog, Alistair McAlpine and Ian Hepburn. We've got Malville and McAlpine are there. Currently leading team general qualification. Scottish riders. Local cycling club, and I know a lot of those guys, a lot of outdoor riding as well. James Malville does a lot of cyclocross riding. Well, you these short, sharp efforts you get from online riding. A little bit different today with a longer stage. Nice cruising down and down then. Crossed at 25 minutes over the top. Too far to the bottom of the descent now. Back to the leader, back to Falk. Now 100 meters ahead of Taylor. There on the elevation chart in the top right hand, about a kilometre at the base of the climb. Flatten out, and I think it starts to kick right back up straight away. Shout out for Johnny Sanika in the Facebook chat. Quite sure where he is on the road. Right, just for the feedback there, guys. We'll try and make that a little bit clearer if I can. The microphone a little bit closer to me. Hopefully that's going to be a bit better for you. Here we are then, riding on board inside this chase group. Still working hard, but I don't think they're bringing back that front group too much. These guys might be fighting for third place today. Looks like those front two slots possibly are sewn up already, but we've still got over 1,200 meters climbing today. Still a lot of opportunities for those legs to get tired. We are then riding on board James Malville. Tries to make sure he doesn't lose contact with these 4 riders in front. So I think I got slightly confused earlier because Cornelis here is also in the GCN kit. He's not riding for Glasgow United. Great, thanks for the feedback, Ollie. Cheers. Put the mic a bit closer, have it a bit further away when I'm riding so there's less interference. It looks like this group is split a little bit. McAlpine's just dropped off the back there, 30 metres back. Sharp bends. Check the progress. Speed of these riders. Not sure, maybe Melville's just got back here a little bit, maybe just to pick up teammate. These guys hit the bottom, start straight away on a climb. There's no flat bit through the bottom of the valley. These guys are at the bottom of the second climb, and a few guys still just making their way up. Final few kilometres of that first climb. See full graphic there at the bottom of the screen showing the full elevation profile of today's stage. The white dots, they're all spread out along the bottom. Still over 100 riders in the event, which is great to see. Now switch across to our leader, Falk Levine. Back to second place, Taylor. Closed it a little bit to 85 metres as he gets on the climb. Like that he's a bit better at climbing than descending. The hairpins, a bit like in the real world outdoors, some people are better at climbing than descending. And indoors, even though you don't have that braking and trying to carry speed around the corners and worrying about coming off your bike, there is still a skill with the auto braking. Make sure that you can power out of the corners, that you're not cruising at the wrong times. We work back through the field, then looks like everyone's getting onto front riders onto this second climb. Short flat bit, and then it's onto the main Alto d'Angolo itself. Pretty glad I'm not riding today, to be honest. This is a fearsome ride. Pros don't like the climb. Certainly one that will wreck your legs. Lee Marshall from the Uncoolers team. Same team as Keith Aitchison. Quite well on GC for the team competition there in the top 5. Right, there we go. So we've got Uncoolers Andy Macker, Lee Marshall that we're watching now, Keith Aitchison, Per Soderberg, Craig Gray. And they're in the TBR, the big ring kit. Blue and green. He's doing well. I think he's nicely in the top 20. Helping to elevate their position on the overall team GC. Yeah, Lee Marshall currently in 10th place in that little battle with, that I mentioned earlier, Joris Scheppers, Paul Newton, Jan van der Linden, all round about the same time, pushing for that top 10. So it looks like he's doing well to put a bit of time into his rivals there. Drop back down, then here's Blair Drader, Joris Scheppers and Mark Rowbottom, guys as I just mentioned. Then here's Nick Greenhall, Poho and Van Linden. That's with them there. Dirt kit. Pretty much everyone in for themselves. We are dropping back a bit to Couper, Bag, Polak. Got a little bit of a gap ahead. Sweeney behind them. So 6% gradient at the moment. So this is the easy stuff right now. Back to the front then. Still 7-8% gradient. These guys pushing along at 18 kilometers an hour. 12-13 miles per hour. Fairly steep climbs. If you were out riding around your local area, you would know you were going up these hills. Certainly feel it. But as I say, these are just the gentle slopes on today's climb. Those routes, those steeper bits come in the last 5-6k. Still got 11 kilometers a day stage, guys. Maybe 45 minutes still to ride today. If they're going in, they possibly could be coming in under an hour and a half. So here we are, Steve Taylor, Team 3R alongside Derek Bucock, Luke J, and Nate Fulshare. Check out Derek and Nate's streams as well. They're also on YouTube, broadcasting their rides. Derek's riding in the 18:30 slot today. Not sure about Nate, not sure if he's in this slot or if one of the later slots. Been riding pretty strong. I know that these guys have been rotating their team around a little bit as well. They're 3 riders to get up the leaderboard. A bit of rest. Using team tactics. So it looks like Steve's just coming back on Falk then. 30 metres behind now. We are 500 metres ahead, chasing pack. Just on the edge of the screen there, lots of orange and yellow bars, sometimes going red. And that just indicates whereabouts each of those riders are in terms of their power output. Green, blue, green, nice and easy. Yellow, that's your tempo zone. Orange, gold and red. You're getting your top efforts, sprint zones. And you can see it there as well under the name tags as well. It just shows you how much effort guys are putting out. Most of these guys won't be able to go into red zone anytime soon. Long climb still to sitting in the yellow and orange zone, tapping on the pedals, keeping it consistent. These guys are just breaking apart a little bit. Then starting to hit some more of that mountainous terrain. Magic Road here, creating topography based on real world elevation of these roads and turns, these corners. A real indication, a real representation of what you would see get in the real world if you were riding up this climb. This is certainly a pretty good simulation of the effort you would have to put in. Front 2 leaders now just 20 metres apart. They're not going to really be worrying about working together now. I think pretty much just keep riding, try and get quicker. Drop back to the group. Lopez still on the front doing quite a lot of work. Melville with him. All up over 5 watts a kilo. Very good standard of riding. Certainly better than I can manage. Guys not attacking each other, not really working together because there is no draft benefit when you're at these types of gradient. Using each other as motivation, trying not to get dropped, trying to tame the road. Start to twisty section of this climb. 45 minutes to the race. Okay, the pool's level then. Falk responds with a wave. Says hello, well done for catching back up. I thought for a second he was putting a little attack. He might have just been reaching for the keyboard, for the mouse to give that little indication of the wave there. Yes, the names on the road look like S. Miller. I doubt that was Shane Miller, but you never know. Lama by the RGT user groups on Facebook earlier today and yesterday. Checking out the platform again. Those names will be scattered up all along the route, up this mountainside. Every single rider in today's event will have their name on the road somewhere. A bit of motivation for them. Ride in, try and find their name. We are then broken apart. This group behind Penrales, Melville, pulling away from Lopez, Calpine. Calpine did manage to get back on. Apparently it's Simon Miller, not Shane. That would have been a bit of a surprise. Shout out to him, he does great videos. He's watching today. So Lopez, McAlpine are here then, cruising along. I say cruising, still over 4 watts a kilo. Good effort. Manuela's and Malva 607 behind. Front two are just pulling away. They're in a league of their own today, to battling it out for the overall. So everyone's over the first climb. You guys still just on the descent of the valley, but it looks like the majority of the riders are now on this second descent. Some of these riders are going to have a long day in the saddle, but it's great to see them sticking with it. Let's follow Phil Marler here from the TNT team for a later addition to the competition. Chris O'Hearn's team, I believe, is the organiser of the Tuesday night track Omnium event. I'm pretty sure that's what TNT stands for. Phil here just pulls level. Alistair McAlpine just sails straight past him. He's obviously in the zone right now, feeling like he's got good legs, not hanging around. Past he goes. Past the Simon Miller from CW tag. Now that we've got that all cleared up. Dropping back here then, Juski, Shaik, John Samu for the Poker Motion team and the Team GBR kit there. How far back Blair Drader is from there. Possibly dropping out the top 3 today. Lopez and Malville putting a bit more time into him. A bit of fatigue after a strong first week. Rest day on Friday, rest day tomorrow. 5 more stages throughout the week. We're going to a hilly stage in Antarctica. Got a sprinter stage around the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. A remote Norfolk Island, 1,000 miles off the coast of Australia, out in the Pacific Ocean. Small island, we managed to squeeze a 35-kilometre hilly route onto that island. Then the rest day on Friday, the time trial day. We've got team time trials and individual time trials, and that's a place at Ushuaia, Argentina, known as southerly city in the world. And then next Sunday we have Turning Classic, Telegraph, Col de Galibier climbs back to back, 31-kilometre stage, 2,000 climbing, real monster of a stage. Stage 15 in the Vive la France event last year. Brought it back because why not? Really, it's going to be a great way to finish. I'm sure it will completely mix up the sea as well. It means this whole competition is not done until you finish that stage. The riders, I'm sure, have got one eye on that with a little bit of fear. day before the time trial. Maybe that will give them a little bit of bite. So poker motion then, mid-table I think. Team classification, got Nick Giles, Nick Poker Motion, John Samu, J Poker Motion, Mad Schnorr, K Poker Motion, and Nico Lausto copy there. That's the 5 guys that make up the Poker Motion team. Team GR kit on. A kit from a few years ago now. It is a nice kit, I must say. There we go, here's S Miller, SDW, Mad Schnorr, as we just mentioned, the Poker Motion rider. And there's Nate Fulcher just in front of him. Team 3R rider that we mentioned earlier. So YouTubing, streaming, go and find his stream after this. Give him a like, give him some encouragement on his chat. I'm sure he'll be appreciative of that. So he just tries to tag onto the back of these guys. He doesn't get dropped. It looks like our leaders now are just, oh, they're already gone through that flat section, that little intermediate break on this climb, and they're now hitting the base, the main climb proper. Here we are then, straight into 12% gradient, 13%. There's going to be no respite for these guys. This is the easy part of the climb. We've only got 7.5 kilometers. It doesn't sound like much. You're crawling along at the moment 12 an hour, but that will drop at its section. Slow you down, doing 60, 70 downhill section. I'll just point out on the bottom there, we've got some upcoming streams on ZMS. Next weekend, Echelon Racing League. Got the Community Series, 16th and 17th, Red Bicycle Classic. T time trial event on Saturday. 6 lap race on Sunday. That's just over a 10-kilometer circuit, about 200 meters climbing circuit, so that's a long old race, and that's taking place Sunday. Then the following weekend is the Pro Series for the Red Classic, and that's Friday, Saturday and Sunday. It is possible for community riders to qualify for that Pro Series, top 10, Cat 1 and Cat 2 races. So if you do enter that, you can then end up, if you want to, riding against the pro riders, testing yourself, seeing how you get on. So I've done a few of those myself, very challenging. So it looks like Steve Taylor here now. Revenge on Falk Levine, pulling away a little bit. Only marginally up the road, 20 meters. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. It looks like Steve's a slightly better climber. Falk is slightly better on the descent, flat. Stay in contact up the climb. Do have 2 kilometers at the end, which is slightly downhill and a little bit flatter, which might come back. It's still in contact. Further back, 600 meters down the road, Morales and Melville opened up a bit of a gap to Lopez. Melville and Lopez here fighting between themselves for a spot on the podium. There's only a few seconds between them at the moment in the general classification, but at the moment they're quite a long way ahead of Blair Drader on the road, so it looks like they could both leapfrog him, take podium places at the end of the day, but we shall see how it goes. Still good 40 minutes of riding for these guys. Gives plenty of chance for them to tire, someone to find a bit of second wind and come back into this. Some of these guys actually go better on this section. Alistair McAlpin possibly just tiring a little bit, going backwards. He dropped out of that front group. Back a bit more. Marshall in 12th. Riding on his own on this slightly flatter section before we get to the main climb. Max Turcotte, USA kit. OTR USA team. Back to Drader, Rowbottom, Linden. Guys all looking to 20 places. Little link between the two climbs. So there we are, the OTR USA team then. So Samir, Max Turcotte, Holly Larson, Stephen Bellio, Michael Guibo, and Ryan Vince. Pretty much all of them, apart from Samir, are USA Canadian based. Pretty early in the morning for Maxime, 6-7 a.m. Holly currently second in the ladies competition, sitting behind Caroline Reuter. It's pretty close between them. Ahead all through the competition. Mike Guibo there, he's helped out with some of the graphics, handbook, calendar that you would have put those together on behalf of, alongside the organisers. Been really helpful, looking really good. Little diagrams, and the handbook's got good information in it. Samir, he's co-organiser alongside James Ogilvie. Samir rode earlier today, setting a time of 1 hour 55. I think these guys at the front are absolutely smashed there. I could see them taking 2 minutes off that time. Any 2 hours, very good time, say, on the course. Not an easy one. Kind of glad I'm not having to ride it, to be honest. Samir's ridden a lot of these courses already, plotted them and tested them alongside James. All of them ridden for good quality, no weird little glitch bugs in them. So moving back down a little bit further down the field then, group here, teams for Hog, the head of Polak, Greeny, Greenholt, having good rides. An hour's worth of riding to get under that 2 hour target that I just talked about. Only 8.5 kilometres to finish. Do that in an hour. Do that outdoors, but steep slopes. The riders get up to 20% section. Be absolutely crawling, I am. Work our way back down some riders. Keith Aitchison, Damaco as well there with him. TBR kit, the Uncoolers team there, all kind of grouped together. Ed Van Bers from Racing Company. So a few of these riders we do recognise the names of because they're riding every stage. See them cropping up again and again. And then a few riders, they're a little bit less familiar, just dropping in doing one stage, a couple of stages here and there. Hendrik Jokel, German rider. They have so many riders on the road as well, it's hard to put body, and even racing, riding sort of small group. So yesterday I was riding alongside Fussell here, quite a lot of time on the road together. Hayden Smedley as well, and Tony Simmons, P. Brook here. Familiar names these guys are doing every stage, I think. Again, Hans Persson, and there's Hayden as well. Guys were similar questions yesterday about the place on the road, where I was as well. Not a mountain goat. Sprinter. Trikios as well. riders in there. Fulcher, S. Miller, SDW, Majnor, Pokemon guys that we mentioned earlier. Keeping the legs spinning, keeping turning. About to come onto that little flatter intermediate section. Caroline then currently first place on the road. Robinson Company. Far off flatter section. Out of the descent now. Climbing. Third 4 mountain stages. Riders keen to get this one under their belts. The bulk climbing done. Event 7 Tour du Monde. We are already planning next year's event. Looking for feedback. What's gone well? What we could improve upon. Absolutely blown away by the level of participation here. We're averaging about riders per stage. Had 500 riders on at least a single stage from the first 6 stages. That will creep up, sure, coming week and the next stage. The platform continues to grow, sure, through 2021. We're already hearing rumours about other series, 1 week road race, 2 week road races. It'll be interesting if we're going to get a 3-week Grand Tour this year. Team WKG, fantastic. France, amazing undertaking. But it was also a lot of work. About 10 guys for that on. So they fancy that again. I don't know if Paul Nichols is watching. Guys helped out with that and it's still regularly RGT. There's Mr. Sanderson there, gives us a little wave. He's watching the stream then by the looks of it. He knows he's getting some camera time. Excellent. Tuning in, having a good ride, and those legs are holding strong for you. That he's getting a little TV boost. Comes past those 2 riders ahead of him, putting in a little sprint. A show of strength. Well done, Robinson, Mr. Sanderson there, past Manning. So yeah, we've got a lot of events, a lot of different organisers events on over the coming year. I'm not going to give too much away. A few that have been announced, such as Maxime Turcote's Wingman Cup, starts in a couple of weeks' time. So that's teams of 2, 8 stages, a mixture of flat stage, time trials, mountain stages, team-based competition where you have teams of 2, the best finisher for each stage, their times recorded. Overall, GC is calculated off the back of that, and he's also introducing time bonuses as well, depending on your finishing positions. If you get up to the top 3, you get some extra time saving bonuses. So that's an addition he's adding into the platform. So here's poor Torm Clothing, riding for OTR. Oh, and he's on camera as well. Look, nice little wave. Sponsored us with prizes for the community awards that were held back in December. A lot for that, Paul. That was the community awards that was organised by Riley Harvey. A few different categories: best YouTuber, best Magic Road, best overall contribution. There was 5 awards in total. That was something that Riley put together, initiated, community voted on. So great to see the community getting involved with that. And yeah, thanks to Paul for providing prizes sent out to various winners. So he's riding for OTR Black. That's Peter Brook, Jim Ogilvie as well in there, one of the co-hosts, co-organisers of the event. So let's take another look then at the course. We review this. We are then in northern Spain, heading up to the plateau. Started in the valley. First initial climb. Long gone now. Long descent down adjacent valley. 70 kilometers an hour. Now the leaders coming up to a very steep section. It's like Primuelas is a little bit of a move in third place. Where we're heading then up onto that plateau. Starting to approach a dark red section climb. Now descent sections. Bean and Taylor then still together. Put fear in the little gradient chart, the zoomed in one in the top right. Kilometre ahead and kilometre behind these riders. We're on a 12% section. Up. Primuelas here then. Dropped Melville. Now riding on his own. Spanish rider on home territory. Lopez here has overhauled Melville. Melville fighting second, third, I think, at provisional GC. Back a little bit then, maybe a bit of fatigue. A lot of riding. James is a very strong rider. See him in a lot of events. Again, is Phil Marler then pushed on as well. A couple of riders up into 6th place now, only 50 metres behind Melville. Be a chance for pushing 5 C road there. Another ride here from 7th and 8th place, fighting with Shayak here, Dutch rider. They're only 120 metres behind Melville and Marler. They're not too far down the road. Comfortably in the top 10 at the moment, but it can all change. 500 metres climbing, guys. Alpine, Samu, rounding out your current top 10. Marshall, still close to on the road then. High up on the GC. Pushing together. So we're just going to be very much riding for time today, trying to make sure that their team time is as low as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right, Samir. We could do with some darker red sections on that chart. It shows all red, which means above 10%. We could use dark red or even purple sections to indicate 15% or more. See it on the road and on that elevation profile on the top right. Flashing red, danger, danger. That's right, Jim. 15% current leaders. This is steep. Still managing to crank out over 5 watts a kilo. $350 watts for the guys. They're in slug for slug, blow for blow, pushing each other on here. Start to approach another switchback. That cliff on the side of them there, it certainly ramps up very quickly. Look how far ahead they are. 700 meters ahead. Two are in a class of their own today. followed by Cornelis, Lopez. Steep that is around this hairpin, 19%, only 8.8 kilometers per hour, 20% then. So it gets steeper and steeper. Really having to grind it out here. Just see the angle on the screen, just how it is. Walk, it's that steep. Push on 9 kilometers an hour. It's almost walking pace. The overhead shot. See that cliff edge. Riders down below. Back. Away, third place. And up to 4 kilometers to go. Still 400 meters climbing. And that includes the flat section at the top. Shows quite how steep it is. The background ramping up. So it looks like Marlow has caught Melville here. Melville maybe just cracked a bit, dropped under 4 watts a kilo. The Melville we know, very strong rider. Back-to-back efforts, so I know he's been doing the echelon racing as well. I know he started off this Tour du Monde event by doing echelon racing and then straight into Tour du Monde racing as well. 2-3 hour effort. So that's just catching up with him. But he's coming back on Marlow here, not giving up, digging deep. Some Melville we know. More of these riders coming around the sharp hairpins. These guys just on 13%. 500 meters start to 20% stuff. Cliff behind them. Alpine here looks up to his left. Rider ahead of him coming along that. Go. Him into view there. The riders now pretty much riding either in ones or twos. Groups completely blown apart. Their own little world. Pain, the hurt of just wanting to do what they can to get up this climb. The leaders, 3 kilometers to go then. 1500 meters, top of the climb. We're absolutely crawling along at 20 kilometers an hour. Yeah, we could see them dipping under 1 hour, 30 minutes. They get to climb. 10 minutes of climbing, and then 5 minutes. The last 1500 meters, which mostly flat, a little bit downhill in there. Feel easy going. Top, be interesting. Guys might push on over the top. Up the steep gradients, up the switchbacks. I'm not sure what's up the top of this mountain in real life, why people needed to go up here. Needed a road flat top, I don't know. Maybe it's a nice top. Says chat there is a nice view. Sharp bends, zagging our way up. A little bit of respite there, 10%. Final kick up to plateau. Taylor puts in a bit of a dig there. He's into red power numbers. Putting a burst 25, 30 meters ahead now. And that slightly flatter gradient. Little attack here. And maybe he knows he's going to lose a little bit of ground on the flat. What he can to get ahead of Falk before they gentler slopes at the top. Strong attack here, 6 watts per kilo. Red zone. Samir in the chat saying it looks like it could be a sprint finish. Steve trying to do the best he can to ensure that it's not. If it was between the two, I think I'd probably go with Levine in a sprint finish. Got some clawing back to do at the moment. About 150 meters climbing left for these guys. Almost 400 watts. Put out here by Levine. 2.5%. And look, it's about to kick up again. Steep section up to the plateau that Samir was talking about. Back up to 14 gradients. So Derek in the chat there saying Steve needs a gap or he's going to be caught on the flat. Side of knowledge there from Derek, that's his teammate. I think you're right, Derek. Steve's got that strong mountain climbing legs. Levine's probably a little bit stronger just on the sprint. Been doing a great job on this mountain. Second place currently. Only no slouch up the mountains. About Steve here, 900 meters ahead of third place. Yeah, it's a smart play, Derek, I think. Steve here. Eking out that lead now up to 80 meters. Again, hitting these steeper slopes. Approaching 2 kilometers to go. For more switchbacks, and then he's going to be on the flat, in the dash for the line. Very hard to respond though when you've been riding for almost an hour and a half. There's not been much recovery time for these guys. So this time has been pretty much at the threshold. Ben, they're doing pretty well, the Ratio boys. I think you've got quite a few in the top 20. They're holding strong. And we'll try and go back down through the field once these two have got to the finish. So yeah, Robin, there's about 1,500 meters from the top of this climb. Falls flat to the finish. And there's the Ratio Racing roster, the black Wattbike kit with the orange helmets. You see them out on the road. Alex Plager, Nick Greenholm, Mark Rowbottom, Ben Phillips in the chat, Joyce Shepherd and Jorgen van Beers. I think we've seen Nick, Mark and Joris all in the I think they're all in the top 20. I think Jorgen was in the top 25. They were doing very well as a team. So it starts to level off a little bit here then. Slight little leveling around that hairpin. Steve's looking like he's about 300 meters from the summit. Across 1,700 meters of climbing point. For that view, looking all the way back down. The riders have come from. Approaching the plateau. 120 meters now for Steve. Still pumping out at 6 watts per kilo. Nice steady threshold, nice steady tempo. Volk there trying to respond, saw his numbers going red briefly there. There we go, and again, trying to lift his effort a little bit. Steve starts to come over the crest of the summit then. Gradient's dropping off now, 7%, 6%, 5%. Last a little bit before he gets a little bit of downhill. He's got to push for the line. He's got 200-metre lead over Volk, 1.3 kilometres to go. Has he done enough? These guys look pretty balanced on the climb. Got not long to go now to the finish line for these two. Levine took second yesterday, the Christ the Redeemer stage behind Igor Kops. He might get second again today. Steve Taylor passes under the Flamme Rouge, the 1 kilometre to go kite. A little bit of respite. Fans are cheering on Steve in the chat. It's a great result for Team 3R. This is going to be a win for Steve, then I'm going to call it now. There's 400 metres ahead for Levine. He's got 650 metres to go. Barring any sort of disaster, he can take the win. Passes the 30-kilometre mark. He really did time that attack well, left it until the last kilometre on the climb. I did say is what Ollie said. Is anyone going to do a Hugh Carthy? Well, there's your answer, Ollie. A long straight here to the finish line. You can see the banner just ahead. Riding for victory now. 300 metres to go. The 250 mark. It's slightly uphill section. Only nothing compared to what they've done today, but just enough to keep those legs honest for the last little bit. Just cruising here at 1.2 watts per kilo now. Approaches the line. Don't know if he's going to give us a little wave or a little salute. Well done, that man. Secures the win in 1 hour 23. Comes Volk Levine then in second place. Pushing all the way to the line, grabbing as many precious seconds as he can. Cement his position on the GC, top of the leaderboard. Sure, Steve Taylor's going to be shooting up that leaderboard today. These two finishing 2 kilometres ahead of the competition. Absolutely smashed Samir's time. Samir, 1 hour 55 this morning. These guys going under 1 hour 25. Very impressive. Quicker than I thought it was going to be. Panuela's here in third place. He's still got 2 kilometres to go. 500 metres summit now. Juski's come up to fourth place. He's overtaken Lopez. So he's having a fantastic ride. 10 metres ahead of him, those two working together. And looks like Melville's had a bit of a second wind. Pulled away from Mahler. Only 65 metres behind Juski and Lopez. So we'll be seeing how those two do, how that shakes out in the GC. Back here to Mahler, Van Schaik, Calpine, Samu. There'll be a lot of movement in the general classification today. These guys have still got maybe 7-8 minutes of riding to go. Here's Samu on the slightly flatter slopes. Back to Marshall in 11th place. Grabbing a load of good time for the Uncallers team. T. Davies, Trader again with strong performance. 13th place. It looks like Linden's coming strongly at the end here. And Mark Rowbottom, the Rassio Racing rider. We had Ben Phillips in the chat asking about him. Well, I hope you enjoyed your time in the hot seats, Samir. Kept it warm for them. Well done for getting up early and completing the stage. Cooper, Glasgow United team, Turcoat from OTR USA. Yeah, he's doing you WKG guys proud, is Blair. Cheers, Ollie. Hope you, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for following in the chat. I'm glad we've got some people watching, following what we're doing. To focus a little bit more today without having to ride my bike at the same time. Focus on sorting out the cameras. I've been leaving that up to Damon from ZMS in the background. He likes to stay off camera and off audio. He's been doing all the graphics that you see on the screen, all the name tags, all the team little displays. We'll bring you live results as the riders come across. We'll stick around and bring you a few more riders crossing the line. We'll be populating the leaderboard as they come across, which is being provided by a results service from rgtdb.com. So there we go. Steve Taylor, Falk Levine. It's our top two. So still waiting for our third place rider to finish, but it's looking like he's about 700 meters from the finish line now. Hopefully we cross to see him reaching the finish line. The bagger, 18th place. Here's Penrales then. He's on that final straight, 250 to go. Great ride from him. He's going to secure third place on the day on home turf for the Spanish crowd. I'm sure he's done many Tour du Monde stages. We've got some slightly fresher legs, but still not quite fresh enough to stick with Steve Taylor and Falk Levine. Drewski just pulling away from Lopez. He's got a 100-meter lead over Lopez. So he come over the crest of that climb. He's done very well. He's ridden at his own pace, but he's slowly picked off riders all the way up. He's going to take the Flamme Rouge then. 1,000 meters to go. Slightly pulling away from Lopez. I mentioned before, Lopez and Malville, they've been in their battle. Pretty close between those two in 5th and 6th place. Been a good ride for Krajewski. Cement his time. It's going to be, we've sorted out the issue with the commissaires. He's going to be nicely back into the top 20. Feel like an age this top bit. Probably doesn't take that long in reality, but after having done that climb, you probably just want to be done. A bit crawl, adding an extra 1500 meters. Fairly flat riding on the top here, taking it out. Juski crossing the line in fourth. Lopez, I saw him there out of the saddle. Red numbers, pushing on. Do what he can to get precious seconds over James Melville in 6th place. Trying to reverse their positions in the GC. Well done to Lopez. Up 5th, and here's Melville then just in the last 150 metres. Looking to secure 6th place. It'll be interesting to see how all of this shakes out in the general classification. Phil Marler there in 7th. Good ride by him. He rode his way back up through some riders on the main climb. Certainly jump up a few places, I imagine, in that general classification. He was in 14th place, a couple of minutes outside the top 10, but I imagine he's probably moved up into top 10 position now. Good ride from Calpine as well. Another rider made up a few places on that climb. It's like all of these riders keep pushing on over the top to get whatever seconds they can. After that climb, I think I'd be easing off a little bit. I'd be managing 4 watts a kilo. They all know that it's the GC and it's the time that counts. And then get as many seconds, get there as quick as they can. Without pushing all the way to the line, 6.5 watts a kilo now out of the saddle. Pushing hard. Last few hundred meters. Does dip just slightly towards the finish line down a little slope. That last little bit of respite. So I'm going to keep commentating for a few more minutes as we watch the top 10 come over the line. Waiting on the results of tonight's later evening slot, the 6:30 GMT slot. We'll be able to bring all the results together and see how things have shaken out after this second monster mountain stage. 2 mountain stages in the middle of the event, certainly shaking things up. The rest day tomorrow, give riders a little bit of time to recuperate. Riders like to keep riding on the rest days, don't want to let their bodies ease up too much. Going into that Antarctica stage on Tuesday. Hilly stage, then a flat stage, then a hilly stage, then the TT, monster Telegraph and Galibier stage later on in this week. A week today, actually, so I say later on this week. A week today on Sunday. So well done, Mr. Samu, coming across in 10th place there. The Poker Motion team, strong ride by him. Another good ride here by Lee Marshall. Certainly going to cement his place in the top 10. I imagine jump above Shepherd's and Rowbottom. A few riders top 10 who will be riding later today. Can't quite give you the overall top 10 just yet. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Kate. You don't know if you recorded it or anything. I might be able to sort you out with a time or Not necessarily the sort of stage you want to do a rerun of. So there's your top 10 on the screen then. Steve Taylor, Ride to Cure. Falk Levine in second. Nuelas in third. Who's fourth. Lopez in fifth. Melville sixth. Marlow in seventh. Calpine eighth. Van Schaik in ninth. J Pocomotion Johnson Moo 10th place. Lee Marshall here coming across 11th place. Another great result for him from the Uncoolers team. Put some time into T Davies, who's still 800 metres back. Tim Davies, he's 6 hours and 6 minutes on GC. 2 minutes ahead of Marshall on GC, so that's all closed up. So here's your live results from the day then. That all of the top 10 up above 4 watts per kilo. Falkland almost 5 watts per kilo. Several minutes between each of these places on the road. 20 seconds between Lopez and Malville. Just reverse things a little bit for them on the GC. That was 2 seconds. Actually, sorry, saying that. No, that's. I was thinking of Drader and Lopez. Slightly wrong. It's all pretty close up there. It looks like Malville's gained some time on Samu. It has all jumped around as we've been expecting it to. Davies then crossing 12th. Drader and Rowbottom pushing each other on here, almost sprinting final kilometre. Doing what they can to cement those GC positions. There's our top 11 as it stands. Today's stage. Very impressive riding all around from these guys. Raided out a little bit of a Rowbottom. Final sprint for the line. I imagine that's tough. Okay, I'm assuming that you've got a Strava file for that. If you let us know how far along you've got, we might be able to sort something out for you so that you don't have to do the first part again. If you get in touch on the Discord channel, there's a link within the description of the ride. Speak to me, James Ogilvie or Samir, get in touch via the Tour du Monde channels, try and sort something out. If you just can acknowledge that in the chat, that would be good. See what we can do. We watch a few more riders coming over then. Cooper, Linden, Turcotte, more top 20 guys. Okay, populating in the results there then. Pretty close amongst those guys. Look, from Drader, 39 minutes 34 seconds. To Linden, also 39 minutes, I think. Here's Maxime from OTR, USA team. Coming across in 17th place, another good ride by him. Got Mr. just behind him, 120 meters further back. Seems just easing a little bit as approaching the line, rolling across. Team just giving it a nice sprint here. Bread numbers are 8 watts a kilo, 7 watts a kilo. Jez Reed behind him as well, also laying down a sprint, trying to get to that finish line so he can have a bit of a rest. You can miss the bag with him. That'll round out your top 20 on today's time slot 3. Guys, about 15 minutes after the leader. Still very impressive time, 1 hour 41 minutes. Careless Vespa coming in here in 21st place, currently in the top 20 in GC. See how that shakes out. It's good to see all the riders, a lot of the riders there sticking around on the side of the road. I'm sure they're having a little message of each other in the group chat, in the rider chat. Just wait for the last 2 riders to populate here in the results. Polak across 22nd, good ride from him, and then John T just coming in behind him. Very impressive riding all around, really. Everyone digging deep. It's not been an easy day for riding. So I'm going to wrap up the commentary now. I'm going to leave the live stream on for a little bit longer just to pick up some of the few more riders coming across the line. But there we go, there's our top 20 for the day. A lot of recognisable names there from the general classification. Well done to Steve Taylor in first place, Falk Levine in second place, 5 minutes ahead, third place. Very strong ride from those two. Joris Shepherd's coming across for the Ratio Racing team. Spencer, riders coming in thick and fast now. I'm just going to show you the calendar. What's to come in this second week. Run through the stages that we've got left to go. 5 stages then left to ride. So Norfolk Island, that's your next stage. That's on Tuesday after the rest stage tomorrow. So that's a little island in the South Pacific. We've got a 33-kilometre stage there. Really hilly stage. Finish up a little bit of a steep climb up to a nice point. Then it's on to the flat stage, Pyramids of Giza, 36-kilometre stage. And then the longest stages of the event, probably the longest stage at 44.7 kilometres, James Ross Island in Antarctica. Also a little bit here, 500-600 metres of climbing on that stage. Something you wouldn't normally be able to do, but we can bring that to you due to the magic of Magic Roads. And there's the Friday rest day for the team time trial or individual time trial from Ushuaia, Argentina. Next Saturday, Telegraph and Olivier stage. France, a week today. 5 more stages to go. Let's see how things pan out over that time. So we're just going to recap today's results. Sign off today. Sure we'll catch you sometime during the week. We go then Steve Taylor, Fock Levine, Juan Manuel Penuelas. Top 3, that's your podium. Riding by all of those guys, well, good riding by everyone in today's stage. Andres Krajewski, Raul Lopez, James Malville, Marla, Alistair McAlpine, Basman Shayak, Jean Samu from Pocomo. That's your top 10. We'll see how that all shakes out with your general classification and your mountain classification. We'll get the results out later today. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and I hope to catch you all again soon.